Hi everybody, Louise Plant, spiritual educator, teaching best what we most need to know. Well, I am. My topic today is about responsibility, and I'm sure I've done videos on responsibility before. But today I'm talking about the fact that when we have personal responsibility for ourselves, it brings us power. And when we're playing blame and shame games, then it actually takes power away from us. So one of my gripes is about the fact that people don't take responsibility, and I'm probably seeing that quite a lot now. People come to me very sick. I'm a therapist. I do live blood analysis and things like that. And people come and they're very sick, and it's the actions that they've done that have caused the sickness. And even situations at the moment where I've given them advice and they've gone off and not heeded the advice, and then things are going to shit, and it's like, help me now. And it's like, well, they're going to take some responsibility. One of the natural laws I believe there is cause and effect. So what we do is going to have an effect later on. And that's happening so much more at the moment. Like, we're really being amped up. This is the end of December 26, 25. And things are being amped up. The energy is pretty crazy. Not crazy, but just intense. So we're really having things in our faces that if we're not dealing with, and there's stuff that I haven't dealt with for ages, and I have been prior to starting my rants, which is the need for me to be creating, and part of my creation is evangelism. So yeah, here I am. So our actions and our behaviours have energy, and they have charge, and they can have sort of karmic things on that. Part of the work that I do at the Vitae More seminars is giving people the opportunity to find liberation and freedom from their past and from behaviours and actions that they've done. And probably the easiest example, and I was talking with someone about this yesterday at the markets, is about shame, especially for men. Shame's really big for men, and shame is one of the lowest resonant vibrations. If we're on a scale of 0 to 1,000, and God and Buddha are whizzing around, not God, Jesus and Buddha are whizzing around at 800, then shame's right at 20, so it's really low. Very hard for people to commit suicide at shame. It's really down there with despair. But the easiest thing to heal, and one of the easiest way to heal, is just to talk about it. Just talk about it. And it's hard, I get it, like there's things that I've done even this week that, I can be embarrassed and ashamed about, but it is very easy to heal, to talk about that. And sometimes we can't be in a situation where we can talk about it because the other person isn't there to listen. And yesterday, this person was an artist I was talking with, and I was like, well, maybe use that energy of shame and draw it out. Just find a drawer. I'm a writer as well. So one of the ways that we can do that is to write it. So when we're not taking responsibility of what we've done and what we've done in our past, what our actions are, what our behaviours are, what we're doing to our bodies, there's going to be repercussions with that. That is a natural law. And it's almost like we're giving our power away to these things rather than taking responsibility and taking action. And it is hard because we're not taught our schooling. We have broken down family units, which is just being exacerbated even more. So people don't know their roles in the family units, and we don't have that support anymore in the family unity as much as we used to. So we're not taught at school. Our families don't teach us how to do that. How do we take responsibility? There are lots of different ways, and part of my life's journey has been to find those ways. And I'm a bit of a nerd, so I love testing the shit out of things, and I'll keep testing and testing and testing until I find something that really works. So I do have lots of tools, but I'm not going to give my tools away right here in this 10-minute video. So it's really the hardest thing is that first decision. It's that first decision to step away from it and say, you know what, I'm done with this stuff. And I'm going through that myself at the moment, saying, I don't want to keep going back into those old circles, because that almost seems to feel like a lifetime ago, and the fact that I'm still doing that, and it's like it's not working. And every time I'm going back into that cycle, or whether it's a cycle of abuse or self-abuse or whatever it is just taking my power away more and more. And hence my topic is, when we take personal responsibility, we actually empower ourselves. And when we don't, we give our power away. So, you know, if we eat shit, we're shit in, shit out, that there's consequences with that. We're also very much taught to look out rather than in. And I've always said this, if you listen to my past videos, I'm sure there's one there saying it's an inside job. Everything is an inside job. So the beliefs I have is, you know, I'm not responsible for how other people feel. I can trigger how other people feel, but it's not my responsibility to make anybody happy. And the same thing, people aren't responsible for my feelings, you know, aren't because of other people, it's because of my stuff. So it's me taking responsibility with that. And that is looking inside. And this week I've been doing some real deep inside looking and having realizations that part of my life has either been abuse or nothing, like nothing, no, nothing, insignificance and voids. And I don't want to say neglect, because neglect is different, but it's almost being ignored. So it's either abuse or ignored. And that's been a pretty hard thing to go through and to process and to acknowledge that that was the journey that I took. And that was the contracts that I'd created with other people in my life for me to learn that. So it is an inside job. We need to change our perception on the inside to actually be able to change the outside. And this is part of the work that Bruce Lipton did with the cell, by taking the nucleus out of the cell, saying it's the brain. It's not the brain. The brain is the membrane of the cell. So it's how the cell perceives itself to be. Like if we perceive ourselves to be in a threat, then we will be in a threat. Our body will have that, you know, reaction of being in a threat. And because there's been a lot of abuse in my life from a very early age, you know, I do believe there's part of me, I was thinking this probably a few weeks ago, that, you know, there's part of me that's still a child and always will be a young child, because I was so damaged as a child. Like there was childhood trauma there that just keeps me like with that. Well, it doesn't keep me like that, but I had the realization that that is the case. Often when we have these realizations, it's a case of us going through change. We're acknowledging it. We're saying, yeah, you know what? I am still a child in some respects, you know. My life has been this extreme of you know, being ignored or abused, you know. So when we have those realizations, that to me is an aha time of saying, okay, well, I'm aware of that now. I can accept that. To me, we always need to accept it. Now I can release it or find ways to heal that and release that. We are so easily told as well what we should be doing, and the world is dumbing us down. Like, you know, we've got courses, how to make a sandwich, toasted sandwich, and how to send a text. These are accredited courses that our system gives us. And because of that, we've become so dependent on that. We become dependent on going to see a doctor and being told what's happening for our bodies. And this is another thing of my rants, is the fact that we are our own doctor. Our body never lies to us, and our body will guide us to what we need. And sometimes we need to go to someone who's going to empower us and not disempower us. There are therapists and people out there who will encourage us to grow, will give us the seeds to grow, but the bottom line is that we have to do the work. We have to take the responsibility. If our car's fucked, like, we go to a mechanic. So if our emotional body's fucked, then go to someone who deals with that, but not someone who's going to just take it away and give you the answers and take this drug and numb it, because that's not taking responsibility. That's just numbing it. It's just pushing it aside. And I've spent a lot of my life on drugs and having drugs and taking things to numb me, alcohol, whatever it is. And I've been very clean and clear for a while now, because that's what we do. That's what we're taught to do or encouraged to do. You know, when COVID was here, we could still manage to get lots of alcohol and crap food, you know. Again, which is just teaching us not to take responsibility. So we are living in a system which discourages self-responsibility, self-connection. So my message here today is really about, you know, having the courage to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, by all means, just connect in and say, for as long as I'm online, who knows what's going to happen, just connect in and ask. And there are solutions. There's no problems that there's not a solution for. We do live in a world that wants to divide us, and to me the solution for that is to be together and to come together in unity, which is great. What else? Yeah, I think that's really about it. Sometimes we need to say no. Sometimes we need stillness in this world of craziness. Like, things are very fast, chop chop chop, and go go go, and there's lots more resistance and dumbing down going on. I say this very tactfully, which is unusual for me. Dumbing down going on and compartmentalizing things, and making us more isolated. It's a time to reach out. It's a time to connect. It's time to, if you're disconnected from your blood family, then maybe it's your tribe or your spiritual family that you need to be connecting with. We all have gifts. We all have things to share. Take responsibility for your shit. If it's things that you've done, when we look at the AA groups, I've been involved in CODA in the past, which was Codependence Anonymous. One of the steps that they have is to make amends, and that needs to happen. So, yeah, take responsibility about what you're doing, how you're behaving, and make amends with that, make changes. If you don't know how to do that, then find someone who can help you do that, and that's okay. I do it all the time. I've been in perpetual therapy since I was 21. And that's okay. If I do get stuck, I often reach out for some people that circles around me. And it's really amazing that when you do that, often things sort out. As soon as you make the appointment, you're like, okay, yeah, okay. It's all coming together because you're actually opening your heart. So when we decide to ask for help, our heart opens. So it's a beautiful thing. Personal power. If you want your personal power, then you need to take some personal responsibility. And every time we point the finger, there's 3 pink fingers pointing back at us. So it's just disempowering us. So I want everyone to be in their power, living their dream and sharing their spiritual gifts, and building their own communities. That's it. That's my rant. Till the next rant. I will see you next time. Always loving love, light, peace, and happiness. Take care. Bye.